Hey guys, so we have quickly the full details for the 9th anniversary Broly and Gogeta for Dokkan here. I am going to make a video on this, and at the same time I'm going to go ahead and post this over on Reddit, and then I'll make a post over on Twitter as well of the Reddit post, a screenshot of the Reddit post. It's usually how I like to do things for Dokkan. So at the same time that this video goes live, I will probably just post the translations over on my Twitter account. But we'll quickly go through this. I already have the format here, the way that I'm going to put it on Reddit. That's why the format is a little strange here. But all right, so we'll start with Gogeta. So Gogeta is physical, Super Saiyan Gogeta, overflowing reflective radiance. Leader skill, because he's a Carnival LR, is Movie Heroes, category key plus 3 HP attack and defense, 200%. His 12 key super attack is the Meteor attack, greatly raised attack and defense for 1 turn and then causes colossal damage. 18 key is the Stardust Fall, raises defense infinitely, so he's stacking defense there. Greatly raises attack for 1 turn and then causes mega colossal damage. The passive is Gogeta's Radiating Light. Key plus 2, attack and defense plus 154% at the start of turn. Attacks effective against all types, so he is effective against all types there. It's typical Gogeta fashion. Gain an additional attack and defense plus 100% when performing a super attack. He does have Guard activated against all types for 3 turns from the first appearance. He then gains an additional key plus 1 when collecting key spheres, so that's like the OG LR Gohan mechanic. And then he does gain an extra 2 key when collecting rainbow key spheres, and then on top of that he is a rainbow key sphere orb changer, changes a random type of key spheres other than physical to rainbow key spheres. And then he performs an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack, and performs an additional super attack when collecting 1 or more rainbow key sphere, which of course should be easy to do because he's rainbow orb changing. Then he has transformation obviously into Gogeta Blue. He can activate that after 4 or more turns have elapsed from the first appearance. So that's from his 4th turn, not from the 4th turn from the start of battle. Transforms into Gogeta Blue. Unfortunately, we don't have access to the categories right now. We don't know categories and we don't know links. So that's just currently unknown. It's currently blank. They'll probably post those on Twitter soon. But as of right now, we don't actually know those details yet. All right, so now we have Blue Gogeta. Let's take a look at his super attack effects. So the 12 key is the God Meteor Strike. Greatly raised attack and defense for 1 turn and causes colossal damage. And then the 18 key is the Exceed Blazer, which is the Dokkan original animation. Massively raised attack for 4 turns and causes mega colossal damage, which is really, really good because that is going to factor directly into his active skill attack. And then the passive is going to be the Blue Light of Gogeta. So this is pretty insane. He recovers 54%. This should be HP. Glad I caught this. 54% HP. At the start of character's attacking turn for 4 turns from first appearance. So basically the first 2 times he's on rotation, he's going to be recovering 54% health. That's insane. Then he gets key plus 3, attack and defense 200% at the start of turn. Attacks effective against all types still. Gains an additional attack and defense 100% when performing a super attack. Then he gains 2 key in addition when collecting key spheres now instead of 1. Changes a random type of key sphere other than physical to rainbow key spheres. Perform an additional super attack and perform another additional super attack when collecting 1 or more rainbow key spheres. So as long as you get 1 rainbow key sphere, he's doing 2 additional supers guaranteed. Then he has a great chance to evade enemy attacks, and he has a chance to perform a critical hit plus 20% per attack evaded, which didn't indicate any kind of cap on that in the passive, so it just sounds like if he dodges 5 attacks, he's gonna have a 100% chance to crit. And it doesn't say during the turn either, so yeah. Then he has a great chance to nullify key-based super attacks and counter with tremendous power. So very, very good, 70%. Then his active. This is the new target focus mechanic. How much can you keep up with me? Conditions for this can be used from character's next attacking turn once only. That's obviously post-transformation. So he's going to transform his turn 4, and then on the next turn that he's around, he can activate this active skill. So this is actually an attack. Temporarily massively raise attack for 1 turn, causes ultimate damage, and then he redirects all enemy attacks to this character for 1 turn, and he dodges. So basically, he's just taking all of the attacks the enemy is doing during the turn and redirecting them from hitting your other allies just to Gogeta, and then Gogeta's just going to dodge everything. So pretty insane. It's basically a Ghost Usher, essentially. Like to me, it sounds like that. And then, yeah, he's going to take 0 damage. And then don't forget that the massive stacking attack here for 4 turns from the 18 key super attack effect is going to factor directly into this because it is technically an attack, and then the effect activates. Okay, so let's move on to Broly next. That was all of the Gogeta mechanics. So remember, Broly is a Dokkan Fest LR, and Gogeta is a Carnival LR. So the leader skills are going to be a bit different here. For Broly, we have Super Bosses, Transformation Boost, or Full Power, Ki +3, HP attack and defense 170%, and then an additional HP attack and defense +30% for characters who also belong to the Exploding Rage or Movie Bosses categories. So pretty good leader skill, I would say. The 12th key is the Gigantic Impact. Raise attack, that's an infinite stack, and then he's raising defense for 1 turn, and then causing colossal damage. Next, we have the 18 key, which is the Massive Blaster. Greatly raise attack, greatly raise defense for 4 turns, and causes mega colossal damage. Passive is going to be the Intensifying Power Level. Activates the entrance animation upon entry once only. Gain Ki +5 and attack and defense +100%, and perform an additional super attack for 4 turns from first appearance. So that's his entrance animation buff. Then he gets attack and defense 150% at the start of turn. Guard activated against all attacks. That's no condition on that, just always going to be active. He gains Ki +1 in addition when collecting Ki Spheres, so the same key mechanic that Gogeta has. Then he gains an additional attack +50% when performing a super attack, and then he gains an additional defense +50% when performing an ultra super attack. Then he gains an additional Ki +2 and performs an additional super attack as the first or second attacker in a turn. And then he gains an additional Ki +6 and performs an additional super attack, and then he gains a high chance to perform another additional super attack as the third attacker in a turn. So he gains a little bit of extra stuff for being the character you're rotating off of the rotation. Then his transformation. Conditions are a little worse than Gogeta. He's able to transform, but it's going to be from his 5th turn instead of 4th turn. Gogeta was 4th turn, Broly's his 5th turn. And then on top of transforming into Super Saiyan Full Power, he also is going to activate the domain Different Dimension Space, which of course is the different dimension that Broly fought against Gogeta in. And that's going to activate and be around for 4 turns. And then on top of that, he is just going to be giving Extreme Class allies 4 Ki permanently, which is very strong. Then the effect of the domain. So Extreme Class allies and enemies are going to gain attack and defense +10%. And if those allies or enemies are also in the Exploding Rage or Movie Bosses categories, they will gain an additional attack and defense +10%. And then also Super Class allies and enemies take an additional 10% damage. So very, very powerful domain if you're fighting a superclass enemy, which of course we know that we are going to be getting strong superclass enemies because of that new event that's coming out featuring exclusively superclass enemies. All right, so then he's going to transform into full power mode. Let me actually make sure that we can see the full thing here. Let me move this up a little. There we go. All right, so the 12 key super attack is the Awakening Tempest. Raises attack and defense for 1 turn and then causes colossal damage to all enemies. So that is an AoE 12 key super. I'm not really too sure how effective a 12 key AoE super is going to be when we're heading into like turn 5, turn 6, turn 7. But this is a character that does have a 12 key AoE, which is interesting. Very reminiscent of like the OG LR STR Broly. 18 key is the Gigantic Catastrophe. Greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn and then causes mega colossal damage. And then his passive is Intensifying Fighting Instinct. Ki +6 and attack and defense +300% at the start of turn. Guard activated against all attacks, and then he gains Ki +1 in addition when collecting Ki Spheres. So the same key mechanic that he has prior to transforming. He reduces damage received by 26% until attacking while the Different Dimension Space domain is active. So when his domain is active, he's going to reduce the damage he receives by 26% until he attacks. So if he gets hit by like an AoE or something before he attacks, or if he's in slot 1, he is going to end up taking less damage there. Then he gains an additional attack +50% when attacking. He gains an additional defense +50% when receiving an attack, and then he's performing an additional super attack, just baseline. Then he's getting a 26% chance to perform a critical hit when performing a super attack. Then he gains perform an additional super attack and gain an additional chance to perform a critical hit by 26% when performing an ultra super attack, and then performs an additional super attack when Ki is 24. So we have super infinite supers coming in from Broly here. So there we go. That is all the information we currently have for these characters. Again, the only things that we are missing are the categories and the links, but those shouldn't really be anything too crazy, I don't think. By the time this video goes up, the Twitter account might have already even just posted the information for the characters, in which case I will update this information so that when I make my tweet on Twitter, I'll have all the links and all the categories in for these characters when I make that post. But just wanted to make sure that this video was put out as fast as possible so that you guys can understand what these characters are able to do. Let me know down below what you think about these units. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.